We kick off our team coverage with Chris Hohmann in the First Alert Storm Center. Chris.
All right, Andrea. I think this is going to be a storm where some people see a pretty good storm, a pretty good amount of snow. Others are going to see almost absolutely nothing. We'll talk about that. It's what we were mentioning yesterday. Steve Stewart talked about this morning, too. First Alert Doppler radar. What's happening now? There is some snow falling. Look at this. Greensboro to Siler City to Sanford to Southern Pines. But if you love snow and you're in these areas out to the west, a lot of it's not reaching the ground. The air is so dry, the snowflakes are evaporating before they reach the ground. You see it trying to push northward now. There have been some reports of snow in Southern Pines with a little bit of a dusting in a few spots there. It's generally along and south of this line. Anything north of there, Siler City points north, we don't think it's reaching the ground because the air is so dry. Some of this, though, is reaching the ground. It's going to try to push northward, but it's going to have a tough fight with very dry air entrenched over central North Carolina, especially around the Triangle. If you're a snow lover, this is the big problem with this snow, is that the air is so dry, a lot of it's not going to reach the ground. The winter weather advisories remain in effect, though, from Fayetteville to Raleigh up to Warrenton in Warren County. Nothing for parts of Durham and Orange County. Doesn't mean you won't see any snow, but no advisories. And that winter storm warning along and east of Interstate 95 now in effect. Our temperature is plenty cold for snow. One thing we don't have to worry about is sleet or freezing rain. This is going to be all snow, which we don't often see here. Notice Southern Pines, because you've had some snow falling, it's dropping the temperature a little bit there, 29 degrees. Here's a wider view of this storm starting to take shape. We're still dry in the Triangle. And what a mess they have in Charleston, where it hardly ever snows, 2 to 4 inches on the ground. There are roadways, bridges, overpasses, interstates closed, numerous accidents. I think they have about 3 inches on the ground with heavy snow coming down. Something you don't see very often, a blizzard warning in effect for northeastern North Carolina, southeast Virginia. There could be whiteout conditions there later tonight and tomorrow. So here we go with our first alert predictor, 7 o'clock. Again, there is some rain off to the east. That'll be ending and changing to snow, but this is all snow. It may be a flurry or two up around Roxborough. It's not impossible you see a flurry or two, but generally it's going to be to the east, as we've been talking about, along and east of 95, where you see a pretty good amount of some snow later this evening, ending after midnight. Ends very clearly. This is what we're fighting, these dew point temperatures. If you're a snow lover, you don't want to see this. Dew point of -2 means the air is extremely dry right now. We have that big range between the dew point temperature and the air temperature. We're at 30 now. That's a big range, but notice it is getting more moist in Southern Pines. The dew point is up to 17. Those flakes fall to the ground and they eventually moisten the atmosphere on their way down, and the flakes can reach it all the way to the ground. So here's what we're thinking. Again, it hasn't changed much since yesterday. Around the Triangle in Wake County, there could be a dusting, a coating to maybe a quarter, half inch. I don't think they'll be up to an inch in Wake County. Cumberland County, you'll be right on the line where some areas could see an inch or two, especially to the east. 1 to 3 along and east of Interstate 95. You get into extreme eastern sections, 2 to 4 inches, very little on the ground off to the north and northwest. But even around the Triangle, you can get just a dusting in spots. The roadways are so cold, that'll stick to the ground too, causing some pretty treacherous travel. More on the storm and the bitter cold that's going to hang around through the end of the week. That's coming up in a little bit, Andrea.